but how many people are, just with a raise of hand, how many people are on have gone on the LCI website and signed in, got your passwords and all of that, and can get in? So if you haven't, that's really the best, that's the tool for the secretaries. Signing in and getting that password, because you can see all the things with your club on there. The link that I posted that you see on here is actually a training tool that International has, and this is a new tool, so I have not started doing that, and I will, but I'll probably do it for president, because I've been secretary of too many different things too many times. But it's actually a tool where you can train in sections. I'm going to see if, so while I'm doing that, one of the things with the club secretary is that you really are the sort of the glue for your club. You handle doing your roster or keeping it updated with information, which I know in our district is really important, because the person who does our roster pulls the information from International. And as the district secretary for the second year now, we've had wrong numbers in our roster because that information was not updated for individuals in the club. And so it's real important. That's an important factor for, first of all, for International being able to get information to your members individually, because members get information individually as well as the leaders of the district. And so if that information is not correct, especially your email, and I know a lot of people change emails, or, you know, if you're using a work email and you're not at that job anymore, that becomes an issue and we can't get the information to you. It really showed its head during the because of the pandemic, because we were on shutdown. And so for our district, we had to do our elections through email. It was interesting and challenging, and I hope we don't have to do that again. But we were having a real issue because some of the emails were not correct. So we had to do a lot of calling and to get ballots out. So it's real important that that information is as up to date as possible in your at LCI, because that's the go-to place for most of your leaders, your zone, your region chairs, and obviously the district governor and his immediate cabinet, i.e. the secretary, who has to usually look this stuff up. The online training that I was talking about is once you sign in, there's an online training to your your right once you're in there. And this is sort of what it looks like. Now, this is mine. Hello, Deborah. Okay, continue to my dashboard. So because I'm designated as president is why this president one is showing up. But you can actually go in and take other classes like the secretary training, and then it goes in steps. So there'll be different things it has you to do at one at a time. I'm going to see if it will give me the list. Okay, I don't need the dashboard. Yesterday, I was able to get the list. Oh, here it is, secretary. That I viewed the secretary one. You see here, it starts out in a module. So if I click this, then I would go through that module. Then it will show me the next module that I need to do. So that is a tool that I just recently found out about when we were doing our training a couple of weeks ago. So that, and I did put the link in there. So once you're in, you can actually put the link in and go there, but then it'll come up for whatever you are first. So you have to go to the library and find anything else that you want. One of the things is that the secretary manages the report of membership to LCI, which is what I mentioned before, manages the roster updates, reports events and activities, and on My Lion, which I don't want to get a lot into because number one, I'm still learning My Lion. I know the basics, but it's still real new to me. But even though any club member can put the event in, the person who reports it is the secretary or the president. So they have to end up reporting it. And I do understand that District Governor Dave is going to have a training for that. Actually, I'm going to sit in on that one because I need the update as well. You manage your new member applications, meaning that you put the new member information into LCI. And I'll show you where that is, so that those of you who are not familiar with it, you'll see where you can do all of these things. You order the supplies for your club through the store. And the reason I say with the approval of the president, the secretary and the president, unless they've changed it, are the only ones that can order these supplies. And your club gets billed for them. So you want to make sure that this is, if you're ordering something that has to be paid for. When it comes to new member packets, those are free. So the secretary can order those knowing you have new members. I usually keep about 5 every year. I don't do more than that because the international president signature is different each year. So you don't want to give an old packet to a member who joins in the new Lion year. And so you don't want to keep a lot on hand unless you're pulling members in at that rate. But those are free, and the secretary can order those online.
Hey, Deborah,
Mhm.
we've got a question about my LCI and the reporting aspect of things.
Okay.
Can you report as you go, or do you need to wait for month end?
No, you can report as you go.
Okay.
In fact, if your club has a lot of activities going on, you might want to maybe section it off, have a day each week that you're doing that. For our club, we're a smaller club, but we have a lot of activities, because what people also don't know a lot of times is that you can report services that you do as a Lion that you may not have done as a club. Maybe only 2 of you have done it, maybe only 1 person has done it. And so it could be a lot of activity. So you have to judge how often you want to do that based on how active your club members are.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, the preparing of the program in minutes. A lot of this, and I'll show you the book that I got it from, it's the ebook for secretaries. I took out some points, and some I took out because I wanted to give you a little bit of an explanation about it. Preparing programs and meetings. So it just depends on how your president wants that done in most cases. When, for instance, as a secretary for the district, and I've been one for the club, I put out the agenda, or if there's a guest, I arrange the timing, but I also approve that with either the district governor as the district secretary, or the president as the club secretary. So it may be a collaborative preparing the program and meetings, depends on how your president wants that to go, what that format is. Usually what I say is, if you're a new secretary and the president is a new president, you might want to get together with them at the beginning to find out how they want that to run for your club. Okay. And for me, it's always been the same on the club level and the district level. If there's an incoming district governor, I want to know how they want things to be. I was very fortunate last year because I was the secretary for the district governor that I was secretary for 10 years ago. So I already knew him. I knew what he was going to want. But a lot of times we don't. And obviously, the secretary manages the correspondence to club members and from the district to the club members. So anything that the president wants out to the club members, and anything that the district wants out to all of the members in the district. That's probably the biggest job. And what I have done as secretary is I have in my email, I have a group tab. So when I'm sending something out to the club, I just hit that and all the members show up. So I don't have to keep trying to figure out who to put in and who not to put in. And then I copy myself in case somebody says they didn't get it so I can resend it and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the things I did not put on here, which I know everybody probably knows, as secretary, you take the minutes for your meetings, your regular club meetings, your board meetings, and all of that. So I don't do shorthand. I can type pretty fast, but I don't always have the computer at a meeting that I'm at. And I really want to be part of the meeting. And for me to try to take notes and listen to what's going on in the meeting is not good for me. So you have to determine how you want to do it. I'm a big proponent of taping the meeting. And in this day and age, you do not have to go out and buy a special tape recorder or anything like that. You have a tablet or you have a cell phone that does, other than flip. And I have to say that because there are people who still have, my brother-in-law still has a flip phone, and I told him, don't bring it out when you're around me. It's embarrassing. So, but if you have a newer phone, let's say it that way, there's a great tool that's on there, and you can tape, and it's real clear, and you usually can tape where even people who are further away from it. And what I do is I may take a few notes for things that I personally want to remember, but I tape the whole thing, and then later on I put headsets on, and then I write down those things that are important. I do that also for our district, because obviously when we have a cabinet meeting, you got 50 million people talking. If I had to write all of that down, I have arthritis in my hands sometimes that flares up. That would not happen. Half of that would not get written. So to me, it's a great tool to use that recorder, and then go back and do those minutes. Typically, as secretary, when I get done with the minutes for the club, I usually send them to the president, and the president just makes sure that nothing was left out, or he or she does not want to add something else in there, and then the secretary sends it out to your membership.
Deborah, can you explain what goes to where? So where the secretaries would need to send things to, i.e. their zone chairs, district governor, vice district governor, so on?
You mean as far as
so any of the reporting that the secretaries are doing, what's their process? Do certain reports go to certain places as a best practice?
For your minutes for your meetings, I know for us, we don't send ours to the zone or region chair, because our zone and region chair people come and talk at our meetings. And of course, when they're at a meeting, we send them a copy of that report. And they usually do their own reporting. However, it depends on your district. It depends on how you all set it up. I know that there are districts where the secretaries send a quarterly report to the zone so that they know what to report at the cabinet meeting, which is always a good idea. Most of the clubs in our district will send to the zone chair and or region chair any information that they want the whole district to know about what their club is doing, events that are coming up. It's always good to send it to the zone chair, because your zone chair is your next level up, and then they report to the region chair, rather than giving it to the region chair and then they have to kind of decipher through, because they're handling a bunch of clubs. They're handling twice as many clubs in effect that the zone chair is handling. As far as on the district level, for instance, when you have a district cabinet meeting, and again, this is up to how your district runs, what we encourage is that everyone come to the cabinet meetings. I know when I started 25 years ago, I didn't get that understanding, and I don't know if that's how it was done. And as I became more involved in the district, we encourage everyone to come to the cabinet meetings, even though there's only certain people who can vote inside of a cabinet meeting. but it gives you the information on what's happening in the district and all of that. Secretaries really are a good tool at those cabinet meetings, because then you bring that information back to your club. But we also know that sometimes you can't attend that meeting. We always made sure that one person from our club attended and brought information back. So you can do that as an individual club. You have to determine how you want to do that. But you do need to get any information that you want the district to know about your club to your zone chair, and that zone chair then does a report to the region chair. All of these people, zone and region chairs, can get on LCI and see all the clubs and do all of that. They can't do anything in your club as far as online, but they can see the things that you're doing. In the past, because you reported on the LCI website, they could see all of your events. But now we're doing it through My Lion. And so there's a connect for, I believe, for them to go in and see what all those clubs are doing, because you can see what any club is doing through My Lion, which is why it is really a good tool. It's just that we have to train some people how to do it.
Thank you so
Does
much.
that answer that question?
It does. And
Okay.
so for those of you on here, there will be a list coming out of everybody's contact information and where we want the reports to go to, and who your zone chairs are and things like that. And so certainly if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Never a dumb question. We want to set everybody up for success. And again, just emphasizing the importance of the online reporting. We are doing away with the old M&A forms. So if you're familiar with those, we aren't going to accept them anymore. It's duplicate work. And so this year, you're going to have to port directly into My Line and My LCI.
So with that said, I'm going to attempt to go back to show you where your login is. Again, this is the page you come up with, and then you go to your member login. And if you have not set that up, this is a good time to do that. So when you get into the dashboard here, everybody can see this. When you get into the dashboard, you'll see that there's 5 different choices you have. Of course, the shop is where you can get your membership packets. And there's a really not the pen, the certificates, an ink pen, really nice ink pen, I must say, and some other information comes into this nice blue envelope that you give to your new member. You have to fill out the certificate information with whoever is their sponsor and all of that. But where you want to go for your tools for leaders, which is where the president and secretary can go, is the My LCI. Okay, I thought for a minute it was going to mess up. So up in this corner, it says select your title. And I don't know if it says that for everyone. If you are the secretary or the president, I have 4 titles in here. So I have to make sure that, like, I would put the Greater Metro Detroit president, so that the information that I see on here is for my club. If I put district secretary, it'll show me information for the whole district. So this is your dashboard, and everything from My Lion Club is listed here. You can, for your members, new club applications, you can, as the secretary, see the dues, what's owed, get the statements. I found out the hard way that the only person who can pay online is the treasurer. That's the only person who can pay online. The president nor the secretary can pay online. So we've sometimes had to just send the checks in because our treasurer doesn't have internet at home. And so I end up sending checks in. Now, this is where we used to do our service activities, and my understanding is it doesn't do that anymore. Let me see what happens. I wonder if it shows it. This was something I didn't check out before because they want us to do it on the My Lion page. Um, so it's not shown. Well, we didn't have any in June, but it looks like you can still get to the service activity. So it may show you the ones that you put in My Lion that have been reported. If you want to, as the secretary, pull the reports for your roster, you would go under the report tab, and these are all the different reports that you can pull. And over to the right hand, it'll tell you what's listed on those reports. For instance, the club roster. What you will get is just the list of members. I'm going to pull one for view so you can see what it looks like. So this is the list of members. What it does do is it gives you where your meetings are, who the president and secretary are, and it gives you your members' number, your member number. So if a member says, I need my membership number because they don't have it, you can go in and get it for them. You don't have to pull a report to do that. You can go into your list of members, but all of them pretty much it'll tell you on the right-hand side what's listed. Contact information. It tells you, it'll list their telephone number, mailing, email address of all the club members. So that form will look something like this. Okay, doesn't give their membership number, but it just gives their contact information. There's two ways to download this. You can download it as an Excel file if you know how to use that. It's a little interactive. Or you can download it with the view and print. It's a PDF. Okay.
One of the important things when you're pulling those reports, please make sure that you're only pulling those for lines information. Yeah. There is a disclaimer, a notice on mine as district governor that I have to read that it spells out specifically why you should be pulling members' information and things like that. So, just treat it with respect. Everybody gets enough spam call. We're together for service, and it's right in our code of ethics that we shouldn't be, using this for personal gain or anything like that. And
exactly.
of course, I know none of you would do that, but we have to go over that. And then one other thing while I'm talking is there is a way that you can order supplies through the tab that Deborah showed and have it billed directly to your club so that you don't need to personally come out of pocket on that. And
Right.
So if you have any questions on that, again, please reach out to us. We want to make your life simpler, not harder.
Right.
Thanks, Deborah.
Yeah. And that was when I showed you the shop, that's where you can also go and see everything, and the choice of you buying it yourself if it's something for you personally, or billing it to the club. Sometimes I know in our club, sometimes everybody is saying, well, we're going to all get hats, for instance. What we did was collect the money, put it in the club, and bill it to the club. But if someone needs something, you can go in and order it. And actually, any Lion now can get onto the LCI and order items with your card, with your personal information. But if the club is ordering it as a group or something like that, then the president usually designates how that's going to happen. Okay. Are there any questions about this LCI? Okay. So I'm going to go back to one of my things. There we go. So here's this part, what you're part of. And again, some of this is dependent on how your district works. The governor, you're part of the governor's voting cabinet as a secretary and a president. In our district, that's how we do it, but it may not be the same in your district. So that's something that District Governor Dave will have to determine who's voting. It becomes, since we invite everyone to our cabinet meetings, we tell them ahead of time who can vote, because we have very few votes that go on at our cabinet meeting. but when we do, then they do tell who has the ability to vote. Prepares the ballots and club elections. Now, again, that depends on how your club works. In our club, we have an election committee, so they actually do it. The ballots, the secretary can help with that because he or she has all the information, the list of all the members. But that's primarily what the secretary does if you don't have an election committee that's set up. Um, it's always good to have an election committee because then it's unbiased. It's not your president or whatever. Um, and you should be part of the zone meeting so that you can take information back. Now, I don't know how often you have zone meetings. What some groups will do, and in ours, we have a joint region zone meetings. So it's always good. And they always invite any member who's in that zone can come, or outside the zone, but primarily they're advertising it to the people in that zone. But it is always good if a secretary can come, because in that case, you can bring that information back to your club. Okay.
Yep. So for B1, the voting members are going to be the zone chairs, the district governor, vice district governor, cabinet secretary, treasurer. Those are our core voting members. Everybody is able to attend. And so we encourage you to come. Like Deborah said, you can take the information back to your club and have an understanding of what's going on at the state and the district level. As far as zone meetings, definitely want to be involved there, because there is where you're providing your zone chair essentially with the information that you want voted on. And so you're working together with your zone chair so that they have an understanding of the concerns that are going on, and you're just passing them along so that they understand when they're making votes how that's going to impact their zone and your club. And again, if you have any questions on that, let us know. But in our district, we only do the vice, cabinet secretary, cabinet treasurer, and zone chairs as the voting members.
Are your region chairs part of that too?
So we don't have region chairs.
Oh, okay.
We're
Okay.
working on it, but even getting zone chairs is
Yeah.
challenging right now. So right now I'm kind of double duty region chair for the folks that are coming in. We've got a lot of new zone chairs this year, but that is our voting structure.
Okay. That's interesting, because we always have a problem getting zone chairs. We can fill the 3 region chair positions, but we usually have to just sort of talk to some people.
Coercion is what
Coercion, yes, friendly coercion. What I wanted to show you, okay, oh, I have to get used to it. This book is, you can download from International. It's the club secretary ebook. It is 18 pages, but it gives you a list of all the things that would pertain to you as secretary. I don't go through all of these. Everything may or may not be a part of what you do specifically. For instance, I saw with conventions, there's a specific thing that the secretaries of the clubs do. In our case, our region chairs are expected to be a part of our convention, which didn't happen this year. We're still trying to figure out how to do that one. And then the one thing that I didn't put on my list was your year-end checkup, where your president may give out awards or certificates, things like that, orient the new incoming secretary, which hopefully you have some idea of who might be coming in. In some clubs, there's runoffs. In my club, we never have a runoff. So we don't have enough people to have a runoff. We just need everybody to take a position. And so some of these become lifelong positions. I know in a lot of clubs, treasurers are forever. It's sort of one of those things once you walk in, you never get out. And so it happens a lot of times. There's a couple of those things on the district level too. I've had to negotiate my way out of things.
Yeah. And that's actually a very good point, Deborah. So you guys stepping up to be secretaries this year. Um, Thank you so much, but it should not be a lifelong appointment. You know, you really should come in, help out the club, and then move on to something else. And so what you're going to want to do is, if you plan on a 2-year time commitment, at the start of your second year, you really should be looking for and training someone to take over when your second year ends. If it's only a 1-year position that you're doing this for, you basically want to start training somebody and working with them now, so that come the end of the year, they're ready to take over. And at the district level, we had a shuffle up. The cabinet secretary resigned last weekend, and so Deborah is actually working with us to train up our new cabinet secretary. So again, just kind of losing that momentum there, it's tough. And so do what you can, and make sure that you put yourself in a position to where you can leave, not feel bad about leaving your club in the lurch, or being any animosity between you and your club. And again, there's nothing wrong with saying that you can't do it. So finishing up your time obligation, but that's why we have so many issues trying to get people to advance. The fear of, as soon as you say yes, it's like getting appointed to the Supreme Court. It's till death, and that should not be the case. So go ahead and if you need help with those conversations with your club, that's where you would involve your zone chair, and it could get escalated from there. But happy to help out. Deborah, how long should clubs be keeping their correspondence? So their minutes, their financial reports?
Well, here's my thing. It needs to at least be kept for 2 years, your year and the next year. But with the technology that's available, I actually can go back to 2012 on a hard drive. I mean, you get a hard drive and you put it on there and you can pass it on to the next person. It used to be, I hate saying back in the olden days, but it used to be you had hard copy. I mean, people actually wrote these things out and typed them. Can you imagine? And they had a book. And so that book would pass on to the next person and to the next person. It's a lot easier to do things and put it on a flash drive. Like, you can get a flash drive during school time for like $6, and they're 64 gig, which is quite a bit if all you're doing is putting minutes and things like that on it. And it's a good tool to keep, because sometimes, I keep pictures on there of things that we do for the district. I mean, in our club, the whole 9 yards with the minutes. Because first of all, the 2 years is because sometimes things come up and people don't remember that this came up in the minutes. So you do want to keep it at least 2 years. Financial reports, for instance, because some secretaries hold the financial reports. If your club has nonprofit status, you want to keep it for 10 years. Okay. It's just a good idea to keep it the same way that the IRS would have you keep it. Other than that, I would suggest you keep it for at least 5 years. And it's good if the secretary keeps a copy as well as the treasurer, because it creates a great check and balance for the things that you're doing. But I know legally for the minutes, that unless you have a lot of financial information in your minutes, I would say 2 years is a pretty good thing. But if you're going to put it on a thumb drive, just keep it until the thumb drive dies, I guess. There are ones that do go bad after a while, so I have a double backup, but that's just me, because I'm paranoid about losing my information. Having worked for attorneys, you get to that point where you go, no, I think I'm going to keep this just a little longer.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
So basically, if you want to get this ebook, you can also email me and I can just send it to you because I already have it downloaded for PDF. But you can go on the LCI. They have the ebook for, I think, president, secretary, and treasurer. And there's a couple other ebooks for zone and region and all of that. I've actually downloaded all of them because I kind of cross-reference them when we're looking for things. One of the things I do want to say is that the secretary is actually the glue for the club. If your information is not correct, nobody has the information. You're the one that keeps all the information going. And I've heard it said that a lot of times the secretary is probably a little bit more important than the president of the club, because you hold all of the information for the club. And so it's a very important job, and sometimes it's a very tedious job, and there's a lot that um, goes into being a secretary. But for me, it was great training. When I started as a Lion 25 years ago,